Hello and welcome to the vlog. I've interrupted the normal schedule of travel vlogs, especially to bring you this edition, which comes, as you can probably see from the sign behind me, from the Crick Boat Show. And as the full to overflowing car park showed just an hour or so after opening, what a busy boat show it was, with thousands of canal fans flocking to the centre of the country and the annual exhibition that's the centre of the narrowboat world. Good weather blessed the weekend, at least on day one, and the dress code was sun hats and t-shirts. Let's get straight to the boats then, some of which were on the water and some like this were on dry land. 50 grand? Sounds cheap for a new boat. Let's nip aboard and see what you get. The saloon's unfurnished, with a galley behind and a tiny table as a dinette. It's not my favourite kitchen look, but it's got all the basics there: cooker, sink, fridge and so on. The off-corridor shower room squeezes in a cassette-type Thetford toilet. And there's an inline double bed at the back, though not much in the way of storage. The engine's from Crick Marina, and that should be good. Alongside it, ouch my eyes, you wouldn't miss this coming towards you on the cut. And here's a wide beam on display. I'll come back to these in a minute when I get to the main arena. But for the moment, just take in that Kardashian-esque behind, huge and unappealing. Here's another big one. Plenty of space on these things, but you can't go anywhere in the middle of the canal network because they're too big for the locks. If you're tight on budget, these GRP yoghurt pots, as they're affectionately known, could be an easier entry to the water. More conventionally boat-shaped, they're still narrow enough to travel all the canals, albeit that you still have this putting thing on the back as you go. Let's head down to the water where the real action is, and a vast array of tempting craft for the lottery winner to buy. And, unfortunately, you really do need a decent bank balance if you want to buy new. They're easily 100 grand and upwards for a properly nice, fully fitted out boat. All kinds of well-known names here, very hard to know who you'd want to buy from, so it's a case of meet the makers, see their work, and decide if you fancy the cut of their jib. Speaking of which, with narrowboats you often find that one firm builds the shell, the steel hull that is, then another is chosen to fit it out inside. Here, for example, is a hull from Tyler Wilson, a very respected name in the industry. Plenty of choice for you though, whether it's a vast cruiser stern you want for parties on the move, or a more discreet semi-trad, and everything else as well. Here's a fantastic custom-made boat, which looks a little like a classic working boat, but is very much new and designed for stylish living. Starting at the back, you get the trad-style boatman's cabin with its own stove. Note the classic rotary controls to operate the engine, no modern Morse lever here. And there is the engine, on display through a hatch in its own room, a vintage Gardner that'll make a distinctive ka-plunk, ka-plunk, ka-plunk sound as it goes along. But in the living area, it's very classy modern design with a classic style. Look at that woodwork, much of it's reclaimed and recycled. Even the floorboards used to be something else. The vast expanse of glass keeps it warm in winter apparently, but is controllable in summer. Let's move on to a conventional narrowboat, this one from TriStar Boats. Bedroom at the front, with a cross bed spanning the width with a fold-down section, and storage overhead. There's a walk-through bathroom with shower and pump-out toilet, a Pullman-style dinette next to the kitchen at the back, and the saloon sandwiched in the middle with a stove to keep things toasty. I do like this secret safe under the stairs, that's a nice idea. The kitchen's not flash, but it's usable with all the essentials, including a washing machine under the counter, microwave and fridge freezer, and it's yours for 110 grand or thereabouts. Let's talk wide beams again, that is craft anything from 9 to 12 feet across. The extra width makes them feel much more like an apartment on water rather than a boat, and this is either something you'll love and want to moor up and never move, or something you don't really like and don't see the point of. Me, well, while I can see the appeal of a full-size kitchen and plenty of space to put everything, I do think you lose that character that makes being on a boat so special. Wide beams to me feel a bit like floating homes without the charm of the awkwardness that makes narrowboats so interesting. That said, this one's been done out very well, all posh tiling and so on in the bathroom, and you'd certainly impress your friends if they thought you were roughing it on a boat. It does have all the home comforts and luxuries. For some reason, there were loads of wide beams on display this year, people presumably buying them for London living, as it's still cheaper than land-based property, even if you account for the astronomical cost of a residential mooring in the southeast, if indeed you can find one. Even the boat styles sound like apartment blocks, and are sold on similar touches too. And despite what I just said about wide beams, I actually quite liked this interior. It has the sense of a period lounge. One thing I do love about wide beams is the full-size bed with space either side to change the sheets. How dull and practical am I? That telly is just a bit vulgar though, in my opinion. Not just a shower in here, but a bath too, and a jacuzzi bath at that. Look, the damn thing's even got a cooking island in the middle of the galley. It's proper posh. Let's peek at an unusual wide beam. Unusual because it's not very wide, only 2 feet more than a narrowboat. Yet it does keep that feeling of wide beam space inside, but should also feel much less bulky to steer around the canals, though you will of course still be hit by the narrow lock limitation of the central England waterways. It's something, again, that you'll either love or think is pointless. After all, if you're having a wide beam, why not have it fully wide? But I can see why this could be popular, especially as the city waterways become utterly packed with people looking for an alternative to houses. Now, from one extreme to the other, take a look at probably the tiniest narrowboat you can get, the Aintree Beetle, which starts at 25 feet, including a cruiser stern. It's cheap and cheerful, and I rather like it. You can't buy these though. It's a display of genuinely ancient classic working boats, decades old, some restored and some still in need of love, and money from public donations. Finally, back onto dry land for a quick whiz round the stalls. A big presence from the Canal and River Trust, of course, who were very busy. In a separate marquee, plenty of traders with products from toilets to stoves and everything in between. Crikey, who let these clowns in? I keep telling them, other marinas are available, you know, be nice to me or I'll move. They keep telling me to move. I'm definitely getting old though. Wanted an ice cream and it's £2.50 for a 99 flake. £2.50! It is a licence to print money, this ice cream game, I tell you. And the rest of the catering was typical show fare too, quite expensive and pretty tasteless from what I tried. I must get me a catering van. Speaking of bad deals, thanks to everyone who came up and said hello during the show. It was genuinely fabulous to meet you. That's it for now. Bye bye.